Naomi. A black woman had everything: a successful career, wealth, and a husband who seemed perfect. Ethan was charming, handsome, and always knew the right words to say. To the world, they were the ideal couple, a love story straight out of a fairy tale. But fairy tales can be deceiving. Behind closed doors, something felt off. Ethan's smile sometimes seemed forced. His eyes lingered a little too long on expensive things, and though he held Naomi's hand, his grip never felt truly warm. Yet Naomi pushed those thoughts aside. He married her. He chose her. That meant love, right? If only she knew. If only she saw the storm waiting to strike. A few months after their wedding, Naomi had to travel for work. It was an important business trip to another country, and she would be gone for a week. She trusted Ethan completely and believed he would miss her. Before leaving, she hugged him tightly and said, "I'll be back soon. Take care." Ethan smiled and kissed her goodbye, but deep inside, he felt something else: freedom. As soon as Naomi left, Ethan's true nature came out. He no longer had to pretend. He invited his secret lover, a beautiful woman he had been seeing behind Naomi's back, to their home. He felt no guilt, thinking Naomi would never know. For him, this was the perfect chance to enjoy himself without consequences. But fate had other plans. Naomi finished her work earlier than expected. She smiled, thinking about how happy Ethan would be to see her. She wanted to surprise him, so she didn't tell him she was coming home. On the way, she bought his favorite cake and a small gift. She missed him. She loved him. She believed he loved her too. As she arrived at her house, she felt excitement in her heart. She imagined Ethan's face lighting up when he saw her. Quietly, she unlocked the door and stepped inside. The house was peaceful. Too peaceful. She walked toward their bedroom, ready to call his name. But just as she reached the door, she heard something that made her freeze. A woman's voice. Naomi's heart pounded. She took a slow step forward and peeked inside. What she saw shattered her world. Ethan sat on the bed with a beautiful woman beside him. He laughed, looking completely at ease. But it was his words that broke Naomi's heart. "I married her for her money. I don't love her." The room spun. Naomi felt like she couldn't breathe. The man she had given her heart to, the man she had trusted, had never loved her. She was nothing to him but a bank account. Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't make a sound. She refused to let them see her pain. She stepped back, her hands shaking. But as she turned away, her sorrow turned into something else: determination. Naomi was not weak. She would not beg for love. She would teach Ethan a lesson he would never forget. Naomi wiped her tears. Her heart was broken, but her mind was clear. She refused to be a victim. Ethan had played with her love, but now it was her turn to play the game. She quietly left the house, acting as if she had never been there. She sat in her car, thinking. She would not scream. She would not beg. Instead, she would show Ethan what it meant to betray someone who truly loved him. Naomi spent the night making a plan. She went through all their financial records, every account, every property, every business. Everything was in her name. Ethan had nothing of his own. He had been living off her money, believing she would never leave him. He was wrong. The next morning, Naomi made calls. She met with her lawyers. She made sure Ethan would lose everything. She didn't just want to leave him. She wanted him to feel the same pain he had caused her. But that was not enough. Ethan needed to be exposed. The world had to see the man behind the charming smile. Naomi planned a surprise for him. one that would leave him speechless, a lesson he would never forget. A few days later, Naomi put her plan into action. She acted as if nothing had happened. She called Ethan and told him she was coming home. Her voice was sweet, calm. He had no idea what was waiting for him. Ethan was excited. He thought his life would continue as usual, money, comfort, and a wife who adored him. He didn't know that everything was about to change. That evening, Naomi arrived home. She walked in with a smile. Ethan greeted her warmly, pretending to be a loving husband. But she saw through his lies. Then she dropped the first bombshell. She handed him an envelope. Divorce papers. Ethan's smile disappeared. His face turned pale. "What is this?" he asked, his voice shaking. "Freedom," Naomi said coldly. Before he could speak, Naomi revealed the second shock. Every account was closed. Every credit card was canceled. Every asset was back in her name. Ethan panicked. He had nothing left. No money, no security. The woman he betrayed had outsmarted him. Then Naomi played the final card. She held up her phone and pressed play. A video recording of Ethan and his mistress. His own words filled the room. "I married her for her money. I don't love her." Ethan's mouth fell open. His secret was out. His fake love, his lies, everything was exposed. He knew there was no escape. The tables had turned. Naomi looked at Ethan's shocked face. The man who once thought he had control was now powerless. His hands trembled as he stared at the divorce papers. His eyes darted between the video playing on her phone and the empty bank statements she had placed in front of him. You can't do this," he stammered. Naomi's expression remained calm. There was no anger, no sadness, just cold, hard truth. "I already did." Ethan fell back onto the couch. He had lost everything in a matter of minutes. No money, no security, no wife to manipulate. His perfect little game had collapsed. Then Naomi delivered the final blow. She stepped closer and whispered, "Love is not about money. You never loved me, but I loved you, and I would have given you everything if only you had been honest. But you chose greed over love, and now you have nothing." Tears filled Ethan's eyes. For the first time, he realized what he had done, but it was too late. Naomi picked up her bags and walked to the door. Before leaving, she turned back one last time. "Enjoy your freedom, Ethan. I hope it was worth it." And with that, she walked away, never looking back. Naomi stepped out of the house, taking a deep breath of freedom. The weight of betrayal was gone. She had loved Ethan with all her heart, but he had only loved her wealth. Now she was free from his lies. She walked to her car, her heart pounding. This was not the end. It was a new beginning. She had worked hard for her success, and no one would ever take advantage of her again. As she drove away, she felt a strange sense of peace. She was no longer trapped in a fake marriage. She was strong, independent, and ready to rebuild her life. Ethan, on the other hand, was left alone in an empty house. No money, no love, no future. He had lost everything because of his own greed. Naomi smiled to herself. She had learned a painful lesson, but it made her stronger. And somewhere in the distance, a new life awaited her. One filled with real love, honesty, and happiness. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.